We were very small children.
Could you identify yourself?
I'm Chaplain Colonel Charles McDaniel, retired, and this is my father. I'm his oldest son. I'm a junior, and this is my brother Larry. It's a very mixed, jumbled moment for us because we didn't expect this. We've had a few days. Suddenly, we were contacted by the Department of the Army, and they said, "We found one dog tag, and it's your father's." When I had heard that there were remains coming back, our family started to discuss that a little bit, but I mean, 55 boxes out of 7,700 roughly, we certainly were not anticipating. And we're really, in one small sense, the most fortunate because we're the only ones that have a name now of some connection. None of the remains, we don't know that they're my father's, but at least we have this. And we're thankful for that, and we thank all those that have worked so diligently to try to protect us, and at the same time help us to get our arms around it a little bit. I have to say I didn't think about the emotions that were very deep, even though I was a small boy and had very little memory of my father. But I sat there and I cried for a while, and it took a while to compose myself. And I'm a retired Army chaplain, so I've made notifications, and all of those are very difficult. They've always been special to me in a sense because I lost my father, and someone had to do that for me and my mother at some point. So I don't know if I answered your question. I'm kind of rambling a little bit. When my father actually left, we were with the 1st Cav Division in Japan with the occupation forces, and I don't know when they deployed, about probably August of 1950, so I was just a little over 3. And so when I saw my father last, Larry was 2. Excuse me, Larry, I'm not letting you say anything. He did. He served extensively. He actually went in before the war, deployed as a follow-on division medic with the 83rd Infantry Division, and served in Europe for, I think, probably over a year in combat. Received a Bronze Star with Beat of Ice and some other awards. So he was in for quite a while. Got out for a little while and then came back in with the 1st Cav Division. And Larry was born in 1948 at Fort Knox, so we were back in the Army at that time.
At the time you were actually in Japan, family was in Japan?
Yes, we were with the occupation forces when the war broke out, and the 1st Cav was one of the divisions that was rushed over. Yeah.
Was he a medic?
He was a medic. Yeah. Indianapolis. He's from
Jacksonville, Florida, and he's in Indianapolis.
Yeah, sorry.
Can you say and spell your father's full name?
It's Charles Hobert McDaniel. CHARLES HOBERT McDaniel. MCDANIEL. And I'm a junior. Yeah.
Sorry, what was your father's rank?
He was a master sergeant when, yeah.
When did you were saying you broke out. What was that, when you got the phone call from us?
Was it Thursday you called or Wednesday? Thursday, I think it was. Yeah, it was a very, I'll remember where I was the rest of my life. I was sitting in my chair and my wife said, "You got a phone call?" And I said, "Oh, okay."
In Indianapolis?
Yes. Yeah.
What time of day?
It was about mid-afternoon. I don't remember exactly.
What are some stories that your mother or other family members have said about your father?
Well, I don't know how much we can get into that. Again, I was very little. I know my dad liked ice cream. He always watched his weight, some things like that. He's an Army guy. I'm an Army guy, so I understand that.
about him missing, but was his family told that he was killed, or what was his family told?
Well, probably, I don't know what you did here with your panel, but did they kind of explain the process when someone went missing in action? And, okay. And maybe you might be a better answer for that, really, to be honest with you. Why don't you just tell them kind of what happens when somebody's
I just want to know your particular case.
Well, I was there, but I was 3.5. So maybe you were real, I wasn't quite as sharp, maybe at 3.5.
What was your
Yeah. Well, me personally, I just vaguely remember, kind of being little pieces of things, leaving, getting on a ship, big ship, getting sick at sea. I think I fell and busted my lip on the stairs on the ship. Those are the kind of memories I have as a 3.5-year-old, see. So coming back, there was a troop ship because there were so many casualties. They put the widows and the families on this troop ship and brought them back to Hawaii. So that's what I remember. The Army's been pretty good about with me to stay in contact once I kind of found out that they were processing over the last few years. They send me notices and updates, and of course they provide these wonderful events for families to give them a little bit of updates of what's going on. So I know more as an adult. As a small child, I remember the emotional things a little bit, and going back to my mother had a large family in southern Indiana, so we went back, had aunts and uncles. They kind of took over. That's the kind of thing I remember. Larry probably remembers that too.
I had no memory of my father. To me, this is a big picture thing. I mean, it's all about. I'm proud that my father was extremely patriotic, and loved the country to death, that he was able to dedicate his entire life for the country without hesitation. But the thing is, he was one of thousands of guys in that generation that did it. And I don't think that the fact that we found his dog tag should overshadow any of that, So my memories are all kind of big picture. I mean, it's, I have absolutely no memory of my father. I have a picture in my current house in Jacksonville of him, and other than that, seeing what he looked like and hearing a few things people talk about him, I really don't know anything about him. So I guess you generate your image of what you think about your father. And, for me, it's all that I'm proud of what he did, what he accomplished, and that he was part of a generation of people that did that.
Did your mother ever remarry?
She did, yes. She married a doctor on the south side of Indianapolis, and he was a great man too, to be honest with you. He's the one that I know and remember. He was a really fine, outstanding, people say that, but he was an outstanding person. He was a very giving person.
Do you have a picture of your father on you?
Yeah, I do. I've got it, but it's just on my camera, so you wouldn't be able to see. I would be glad to show any of you later, but.
Do you have plans for dog tag, or do you have plans?
I'm saying again.
Do you have plans for the dog tag?
We haven't decided exactly. One of us will keep it. We've talked about it, so. I don't know if we're going to arm wrestle or 6 months of custody each other. I'm not trying to be too light, but I mean, really, that's. We're just overwhelmed. I am that of all of these boxes that came back, and out of all of these thousands of people we're the only one that has certitude on at least. I mean, is it possible? Obviously, my father's alive someplace, and he lost his dog tag. That's just improbable. So we've got some certitude now, though, of reasonable location and all of that.
What are the plans for a final rescue?
Well, we've actually just talked a little bit about that, but I don't know. Maybe Arlington, maybe up around Indianapolis, maybe, we'll just have to work that out. It's just, those are, first you have to make sure that some of the remains are his. I mean, they may not be, maybe we're just getting a dog tag, which is wonderful. I mean, it really is wonderful in one sense, but, you know.
Did your grandfather serve in the First World War?
He did not. He was a farmer, and it was exempted. That's a farm family. Both from that generation, my mom's family and my father's were farm people. He's from around Butler, Missouri area, my father. But I have a great uncle who's a namesake also, who was killed in World War I.
As an Army chaplain, did you ever serve in South Korea?
I did not. I was a Green Beret at the time. I went in. For whatever reason, they decided Central Africa sounded better. So, you know, if you're familiar with Special Forces, that you each have areas of responsibility. And at that time, they assigned me to a group that had that responsibility. So I did my time and went out and finished college and then became a chaplain. So.
You're 87, 1-7?
Yes. Yeah.
And you were?
Yeah, he's the academic guy, and I always tell people he's never seen a classroom.
Okay, we've been watching a very moving ceremony, and two brothers, Charles and Larry McDaniel, giving back their father's dog tag. This is what came back. One of the things that the Army has found when the boxes came back from North Korea. Very meaningful, important moment for that McDaniel family and for all Americans. It was an honor to show it to you. Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Dana Perino. Up next, Chef Smith.